for the direct
Oh,
DULAP direct MVAR. So as you can see here, it is being proposed by IATA as a shortcut, but it is not still not being approved in real world. So it's still under research, still under research and study in real world. It's still not being approved in real world, but it's a real proposal, and we have got special approval from Hong Kong, the people at Hong Kong to give us this permission to do this direct,
Wow.
which we're gonna cut
great.
short the route. Yeah, most people are gonna fire this kind of direct anyway. They, I mean, pilots on VATSIM, they won't bother to ask for approval because, yeah, it's just gonna fire this kind of direct anyway, because without this direct, you see, there's not really a way you can transit the Hong Kong airspace. There's not really any way. All
Yeah,
the routes
but that
terminate at Hong Kong.
Only way.
yeah, I mean that were if we should go the through Hong Kong, it will be like really bad. I
Yeah,
mean,
well, if we go that way, we cannot really take a 90-degree turn there. It's gonna mess up our time.
Yeah.
This route is already time critical. We're trying to
Yeah.
What
arrive
time?
there on time.
What time do we pass Hong Kong?
That's gonna
Do you
be
know what time?
around 19 Zulu. Around 19
Okay.
Zulu.
Then.
Actually, no, sorry about that. It's 14 Zulu, not 19. It's 14
Oh,
Zulu.
okay, cool.
okay, so 14
And
that is going to happen at 14 Zulu.
yeah, that's about
Right.
that time. Actually, let me get more specific on that. That's also about the time where we're gonna have our encounter with the Typhoon, and yeah, it is 14 Zulu, and we should be going to Typhoon at this point. So, we have this tropical storm coded 19 Whiskey, and its official name is actually Sordo. Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it's not the same naming. It's not like the same naming conventions with hurricanes in the Atlantic. So it just left Philippines and it's now heading. Now it is heading northwest, straight towards our route, and it's really, yeah, it's really I don't know how to say it, a coincidence, but
Strong.
you see, on page 13. Here I have given the forecast pass of this tropical storm. Still a tropical storm. You can see. So we are gonna arrive around here at 13 Zulu. Right. Actually 14 Zulu. Right. We said we're gonna arrive here at 14 Zulu.
Yeah.
So if you follow the track, you will see that the center of the storm is gonna be like right on our route at that time. If you follow the track on page 13, you will be able to see by 14 Zulu when we arrive at this position, the storm is gonna be almost right on top of us. So the good thing is that it's gonna stay below typhoon strains. We can say hurricane strains because it's literally the same wind speed. It's gonna stay below that, but just barely below that. From the JTWC forecast warning, we can see that at 23 at October 23rd and 12 Zulu is at 60 knots. The wind is 60 knots and gusting to 75 knots. That's the surface wind, which is gonna be the storm at its peak intensity. That's where right when we will go through it on our route south of Hong Kong. So
Oh my.
yeah, we are forecasting. But just rest assured, the impact at higher levels is not gonna be as severe as in lower levels. So you're not gonna like have crazy winds and stuff like that. But at upper level, you still could have some impact, including towering thunderstorms. So please be prepared for that. And as we said here,
Okay, so
continuously monitor the updates of the storm system.
I have a question. Which flight level is going to consider it as safe to pass through the cyclone?
I think you should stay at your maximum allowed flight level. because your
All
weight
right.
is going to be limiting your flight level, but you can try
Yeah.
to stay at your maximum allowed flight level and depend on your weather radar and pilot reports, PIRAPs or stuff like that to determine that and possibly deviate your course if there's really problematic storm tops. So as we said here, it's not that severe on high levels, but you need to continuously monitor updates here or in this document. But we are also gonna do these updates in the channel, in the meteorological channel here, like we have already did, and we'll continue to be doing that. So stay tuned to that. And the other typhoon, the other cyclone we talked about, yeah, it's gonna dissipate when it gets caught into the jet stream east of Japan, which we are also going to use that jet stream. When it got caught into that jet stream, it's going to dissipate. So that's not really an impact anymore. So the only thing we need to worry about is 19 Whiskey, this tropical storm. And here's the forecast pass. And yeah, so that's the Hong Kong part, 2 points. And then we move on to the Japan part, which we're gonna start our flight with 100 knot tailwinds, and we will like transition through this Japan
You see,
island. Say again?
how much tailwind?
How much tailwind? You mean how much tailwind here? It
Yeah.
could be anywhere between 100 knots to 150 knots. That's
Speed up,
the
boy.
Yeah, that's the greatest tailwind portion, and that's exactly why I selected this routing option. Because as you can
Yeah.
see, we have 4 routing options here. In the flight planning channel, you can see we have 4 planning options here, named based on their their pass. But we chose this one because yeah, it's gonna be the one with the best
best
wings. Yeah, and we're gonna have basically Taiwan and the Kyushu island of Japan, and we're gonna pass through the south coast here, and at this area we're gonna get onto the mainland Japan, and here we're gonna pass through Nagoya. We're gonna pass through the Nagoya area and the Chubu airport in Japan, and then we pass over the mountains of Japan and we'll pass to the north of the Tokyo metropolitan area, and then we get onto the North Pacific. We're gonna use the NOPAC route Alpha 590. This NOPAC route is gonna take us into Anchorage, and from there we're gonna start start to deviate from that route and fly our user prescribed route or UPR. So here you can see the route takes a dip at Adak, yeah, at Adak Island. It's also, you can see, to take the wind into account. That's why the route takes a dip. That's to make use of wind here. That's why it takes a dip here. Why it did not choose the most direct route, but took a dip here. That's the reason. And here we will go through all the ETOPS alternative or adequate airports here. First one in Japan, we have RJCK in Hokkaido. That's the first diversion airport. Second is UHPP. That's in Kamchatka Peninsula of Russia. That's the second. And the third is going to be the Shemiya Air Force Base. The American island. The Aleutian Island of Shemiya. So that's the first Aleutian Island diversion airport. And second one, actually we do have another airport. ADAC can also be used, but we did not list it in this case. The next one is going to be Code Bay. That's going to be actually an Alaska mainland airport. It's Code Bay.
Yay.
And the next one is going to be Kodiak, which is on Kodiak Island. And then the next one will be Ketchikan, which is going to be on the other side of the Bay of Alaska. So Kodiak is on the west side of the Bay of Alaska. Ketchikan is on the east side of the Bay of Alaska.
Oh, by
and
the way,
this is where
Ketchikan
Ketchikan
is
is. Yeah.
Ketchikan is a hard airport to come into.
Yeah, it is a hard airport if you have bad weather and fog, which is
Yeah,
quite likely
uh,
there in the fjords. In the Alaskan fjords, it's really likely to have those poor weather.
try and use
But
that as like your last resort.
it does have yeah, it does have these instrument approaches. But yeah, we already noticed that. But we're just gonna noting that again. Those airports are mostly filed for legal reasons to com- to comply with the legal requirements for ETOPS. But when you really have an emergency, you do not have to land there. If the emergency is less urgent, you of course you can choose to divert to Anchorage or Vancouver, fly longer. If the emergency is not urgent, really urgent in nature, you can exercise pilot discretion on which airport you go to. Um, yeah. Peter.
Yeah.
You are okay with Code Bay, or do you want to see other options?
Well, if do you maybe know how long air runway is in Cold Bay?
Code Bay likely has the longest runway in all of
It's
these
it used to be a
options.
military base. It has a 10,000 to 11,000 foot long runway.
Oh, that's
Code
okay.
Bay
That's okay.
has 10,000. Has 10,000.
Yeah, that's totally okay.
It's gonna be much shorter in Ketchikan or Kodiak. The only one as long as it is gonna be Shemya Air Force Base, which is a current Air Force Base, and it's also
Yeah.
10,000
Also,
feet.
one also another question. Do you maybe know which time or is Anchorage going to be like an option?
For Anchorage, yeah,
Yeah.
I told you, I gave you a time, did I? Because I can't really remember, but I guess it's something like 21 Zulu. Let me check
Oh
it
yeah,
real quick.
yeah, yeah.
I can
I think
actually
it is.
check it real quick. At Dutch Harbor, we can arrive at Dutch Harbor by 21 Zulu. So, yeah, I guess at Anchorage it's gonna be 22 Zulu.
Yeah, all right. Thanks.
At Code Bay it's gonna be 21. Code Bay is gonna be 21.
Yeah, that's perfect.
And you can see you also have the option of Shemya Air Force Base, but it's an
Oh,
active
wait,
it's an active military base. So what?
wait, Cold Bay is 21 Zulu,
21, yeah.
not 20 Zulu.
It's gonna be closer to 21, yeah.
All right.
So we hit the open
Is that
code.
okay for you?
Well, yeah, I was thinking maybe 20 Zulu, but I mean, okay, 21 is
20 Zulu, like if you want earlier, you have ADAC and Shemya Air Force Base. These two options,
yeah.
which are not
Alright.
as good as Code Bay, but I guess
Yeah, I
we can,
mean, Cold Bay is actually the most logical and the safest option for.
yeah, I mean, Code Bay is really used for a lot of commercial diversions in recent years. It's really the most
Yeah.
used diversion airport for these flights, and it's been used repeatedly by passenger airliners. Yeah, they used to have
All right.
they used to have fly they used to have to fly in fuel to refuel the aircraft, and so that the aircraft can take off again from Code Bay and continue the journey, and so that passengers don't get stranded in that city because the passengers gonna be more than the city population in Code Bay. And we need to go into something else, which is, give me a second. Here we go. So we are forecasting a cyclone, not a tropical cyclone, but a cyclone over the Bering Sea during our flight. We're forecasting a cyclone, not a tropical cyclone, but a cyclone over the Bering Sea during our flight, which could create bad weather for these airports across the Aleutian Islands and across the Alaskan Peninsula here. So be aware of that, the potential impact caused by the cyclone, because it's going to be a significant weather phenomenon, and you will have to deal with this through this page 11 here, the TAF overview. So as we have the TF coming in, and we will be able to fill all these airports and the weather conditions, and we will see how severe is the cyclone's impact gonna be. If it's really bad, then maybe some of the airports has to be delisted from the ETOPS. Has to be delisted from the ETOPS adequate airport if it falls below the ETOPS dispatch minimum. And maybe if Code Bay is really terrible weather, you may want to choose another airport. It's all possible. So we will keep an eye on this. All right.
Okay. There you go. Oh, tell me.
Yeah, this is for so this is for Peter's airport. And next part, we go to the final weather, which is gonna be the arrival weather. We covered en route weather and Typhoon. We're gonna go into the arrival weather now, and the synoptic scope pattern across the United States on Friday evening. Actually, on Friday, it's gonna be dominated by this cold front moving east. Let me see if I can get an animation here. Maybe I can get an animation. Where is it? Maybe I can get an animation here. Yeah, we do have it. We actually now have the Saturday model run out, so you'll be able to see that. So the major pattern includes this frontal system, which pushes east across the Midwest, and it's gonna bring all kinds of precipitation at the upper Midwest, including Chicago, but it's gonna be limited to like early Friday, Thursday, or early Friday, something like that. At Friday evening, which is at this stage, you can see this. So this is early Friday, and so here this is early Friday, and when we go to Friday evening, you can see how the cold front has already pushed through here, and it's gonna clear most of the weather here, but it remains a concern for us to keep an eye out for, in case it creates any like remaining weather impact at Chicago. And of course, as it pushes to the east, it will create weather impact to the east of Chicago. So that could create like air traffic impact for all the arrivals and departures on the east side and to the southeast side, including Atlanta, New York, stuff like that. So if that's kind of air traffic impact could reverberate and impact us, it's also possible. So also keep an eye out for the arrival of
Marin,
Yeah?
what time are you guys arriving?
Say again?
What time are you guys arriving?
It can be 03 Zulu. 03 Zulu, which is gonna be 11 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time.
Okay.
It'll be 10 p.m. or so. So it'll be towards the last hour of the event. I'm not too familiar with O'Hare and how they operate as far as which arrival gate's going to be the
You only
busiest,
get
but
people.
well, hang on. The arrival gate from, I would say, like the northwest or southwest arrival gates would be some of the busiest. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah, that's right. And for the south and east gates, we could be looking at weather impacts from this frontal system.
You guys really lucked out with Denver, but for O'Hare, I don't know if you'll be as lucky.
And the wind is not as huge, but it's possible. We'll watch the weather closely here. And event outlook. We're gonna have another event Saturday, which is gonna be Taipei to Minneapolis, right? That's what we talked about. And for the next week, the tentative plan will be Berlin. They have the closing event for Tago Airport. Basically, they're gonna close Tago Airport and move to the new airport, the new Berlin Brandenburg Airport, which you guys might know took 10 years to open. And yeah, so that's
and it's opening in next 10 days, right?
So they they are pulling this huge farewell event for Tago Airport. That's where we are likely gonna do our event for next Saturday. For the Saturday after this Saturday. and likely to a West Coast airport. We don't know which because the event organizers, the facilities, they haven't announced them yet. So we're gonna be looking at that in a while. And actually, sorry, okay, sorry for handing you there. Actually, okay, is he here? Is okay still here? Oops, jeez. He's not here anymore. I kind of forgot him. I kind of feel sorry about that because I'm supposed to talk with him about his landing options.
If they're not prepared, then if they're not showing up and they're not going to be prepared, that's kind of their fault.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if they like come up at the last minute, I will still have to. Like, I cannot just ignore them and say, well, this is gonna appear really, yeah, not gonna appear too good for me. I try to get him in
Too
if
nice.
he can. I will try to get him in. If not, I will talk with him later. And you guys have any other problem question, including anything from your simulator to your flight to time? Any question? Any confusion? And any of you needs company route file for this route? If you don't want to enter it,
Oh, I will need it.
say again.
It would be good. I mean, I would like to have one company company route.
Company route. Okay.
I can do it. I mean, on my own.
With SimBrief, with SimBrief, you can just paste the
Yeah.
route into SimBrief as long as you
Yeah,
have SimBrief.
that's what I thought. Just paste the route and choose the aircraft and that stuff.
Yeah, you will be able to just copy the route and paste it into it.
Right. So, can you please again post that the route in like event advisories or general?
Yeah, what I was thinking about
Alright.
was to include the route in the briefing document to force you guys to actually read the document. But I can send the
Thanks.
route to you via DM if you need after the
Oh
briefing.
yeah, that'd be good.
And yeah, you heard that when we talk about the weather impacts here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we are looking at potential weather impact, which could include all these airports around Alaska, so including your Code Bay. So we'll keep an eye out for that.
Alright.
Well, I don't think he's joining any minute soon, so we just gonna
Yeah.
I was just gonna stay here to take any questions. But the main part of the briefing is basically complete. Yeah, we covered most of the stuff. We do not cover a lot of these procedures because the runway assignments, we do not have them, so we not really cover a lot of them. But we cover most of the part. And for ETOPS, yeah, if you just read the briefing document, it's all included there. Maximum diversion distance is 490 miles, which actually exists here, between Japan and Russia, Kamchatka. Okay, he's still not here, so this is the region where we're gonna have the ETOPS segment. It's not really in Alaska or Bay of Alaska. These parts are all covered by airports. This is the part where we're gonna have ETOPS. So, any other questions? Or
Are we gonna have oceanic coverage?
to get oceanic coverage for Pacific is much more harder when compared to Atlantic, because Japan, they're really inactive. So you want
Yeah.
to
What?
provide. There's three areas they can potentially provide coverage. One is Tokyo, Fukuoka control, and the Tokyo Oceanic area here, and the Anchorage Oceanic, and Oakland Oceanic. There's three parts. So, like, it's really really difficult if you want to get all three on, which is basically impossible if you can get all the three online.
Yeah.
If you can get all the three.
I'm gonna be
I
honest.
won't.
You guys are not that big of a group flight. You're not gonna be
No, I know.
of that much interest to any facilities that you want to get on, especially at this stage of the game.
I mean, oceanic coverage for Atlantic is as Marin said, it's really easier to get than a Pacific one.
Well, that's because Gander's a lot more active.
Yeah.
Well,
It's also
no.
just Gander and Shenwick. So
Well, Japan is really inactive. Japan is really inactive, and the for Anchorage they are active, but they're covering the domestic mainly.
They're
They're
more
not
active.
really
Japan is more
staffing.
active than Anchorage.
They're not really staffing the oceanic part. Japan like is the same thing. They are more active in domestic part, but they're rarely staffing the oceanic part. So and for Pacific airspace, it's really a much less busy airspace. It's much less busy airspace than the Atlantic airspace. I mean, in VATSIM. I mean, on VATSIM, it's much less busy. You can see like maybe 20 aircrafts crossing North Atlantic daily, or 30 or 50. In Pacific, you could only have 10 aircraft crossing daily. And yeah, we could easily account for more than half of the crossing traffic over the North Pacific in a day. Long landing, welcome here. Welcome in, and I just want to know, are you gonna fly this? Because I saw said you were not decided yet, earlier. I can't hear anything. You can also use text if you have trouble. I mean, okay, now I can hear something. Whoa, great. It's great you're gonna join us because yeah, we are kind of looking forward to a really exciting flight with all the stuff and a tropical storm, a typhoon. Yeah, and just be sure to be there like 10 Zulu, 11 Zulu, because we're gonna depart on time at 11 Zulu Friday. So please be sure that's okay with you, 11 Zulu, and maybe be online 1 hour prior to that so that we can really be on time. And make sure we are not delayed because of the long route, and Chicago's ending their event at 3 Zulu. I really hope they're ending it at 4. I really hope like they're ending it at 4, like Denver did, but yeah, it's 3, so it's really no way to. I really hope they can have more events that end at 4 Zulu. Maybe when we switch to now daylight saving, they will have more events that end at 4 Zulu. I don't know. And yeah, that's gonna be it. We talked about like what we are gonna see in Japan and Aleutian Islands, Alaska, and we're just gonna talk briefly. I can still talk briefly about what we are gonna see in the last part, which is gonna be the American part. I mean, North American part of the route. First is gonna be the Queen Charlotte Islands, which is this island is now is called Haida Gwaii. It's a really indigenous Canadian island here on the west coast. And then when we fly past this island, I mean we have our oceanic gate here. Our oceanic gate catch direct Sandpoint. Is it Sandpoint? Not Sandpoint. It's Sandspit. Sandpoint is in Montana somewhere. Sandpoint must be in Idaho somewhere. And so catch direct Sandspit is gonna be our oceanic gate we're gonna use. So and then we are at the coast of British Columbia. We're gonna have these fjords, like we have in Alaska, and we have those lakes, those interesting lakes in the like between the mountains of the Canadian Rocky Mountains, and then we go into Montana. At this point, we're gonna fly over the Glacier National Park. We're gonna fly over the Glacier National Park. you guys might be familiar with that, with the airports there and the Glacier National Park, which is between the U.S. and Canada. So those are basically the things we're gonna see. And just be sure to be there by 10 Zulu or so, and be ready to depart by 11 Zulu Friday. If you cannot make it at that time, please let me know now. Or if you have any other question before we end.
Doesn't this not?
Great. Great. Eddie, will you be able to join? Are you confirmed? Great. That's great. Now we have a lot of people, including those who
I'm
are
gonna
not-
make an attempt to be there.
You gonna make second, please?
I'm gonna make an attempt to be there, but that means I'll have to wake up very early. So
Great. I mean,
if I don't send anything by like 10:15 Zulu, assume I'm not coming.
yeah, okay. Also feel free
Yeah,
to
I'm not.
join at also feel free to join at intermediate airport or something like that if you want. I mean, we have things like in Japan we have like Kansai, Nagoya, Tokyo, and stuff like that. Those are something you can join like at 16 or 17 Zulu, around that,
Right.
and Alaska and Canada, stuff like that. But I mean, you can even join from Montana. It's possible. You can join from Glacier Park Airport or something like that. You can still join, still make it. So that's gonna be all the topic we're gonna cover now. Long landing is typing something. I'm gonna wait for that in case we have any question to answer.
Are you gonna be going over the flight Saturday, or is that for another time?
The flights for Saturday, we are not gonna really do a this huge full scale briefing like this because I'm doing this alone. It's taking too much.
All right, sounds good.
Yeah, because of life. So we might have to do it short and short and sweet for Saturday. Gonna be good for Saturday because for Saturday we're gonna take a more northerly route, and Edmonton's gonna be online. So it's gonna cover us all the way from Alaska into our destination. Yes, so no other question. I saw long landing was typing something, but if there's no question, no problem at all, then it should be all good. And thanks all for joining today.
Alright then, see ya tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow for your time, right? I'm still at advanced day. You're at Thursday.
Wait. The flight is on Friday.
Friday is the day after tomorrow, right?
Oh, yeah. Okay, I'll see ya in Friday. Goodbye.
Yeah. See you.
All right, thank you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.